Hey team, so I've been asked this as well, and the question is, why am I not getting faster at running? I know a lot of you out there are dealing with um, issues in your training. A lot of times, athletes don't get faster at running because they can be dealing with chronic fatigue. Okay, a lot of times you could be, one of the things I personally had to deal with was I was running low on iron and ferritin, so I was really borderline anemic back in 2007, and my workouts weren't getting any faster. I really wasn't progressing to the type of extent that I was aiming for in my racing. And it turns out that I had to get a blood test. My coach back then was Lisa Rainsberger. She's the 1985 Boston Marathon champion. And I had never, in all of my years of running up until that point, I started running in 1992. It wasn't until 2007 that she suggested that I get a blood test. And I had never considered what the role of iron and ferritin does in the body. Okay, if you're running low on iron, it doesn't matter how much motivation you have, you're not going to run at an optimal level because running iron and ferritin play a huge role in terms of oxygen transport throughout the body. So the iron and ferritin work very closely with the cells in the body. So if your cellular health is very poor and you're running very low on iron, you could be not performing to the extent that have been training for. So I think one of the most important things to keep in mind when asking this question of why am I not getting faster at running is to factor in the other things that maybe you haven't been paying attention to. Okay, if you are running too much of your mileage too easily and you're not really stressing yourself consistently over a long period of time, one, you are going to become very strong in terms of your endurance, but you're not going to get any faster because, again, you're not running at paces for a long enough period of time at your anaerobic threshold, or if you're not doing enough training at your VO2 max, which is around 95 to 100% of your max heart rate. If you're not really stressing yourself enough and you're running too much of your mileage too easily, it's just natural you're not going to get any faster at running because, again, you're spending too much of your time maybe focusing too much on volume and running high mileage. Again, of course, there are athletes out there that really get great results running high mileage and not really doing a great deal of speed work. But then again, you have to really focus on training at paces that are significantly faster than your goal race pace, so that again you're improving your body's ability to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up, and you can sustain your goal race pace for a long enough period of time. And I think that is another issue that a lot of athletes are having that are asking this question of why am I not getting faster at running? Obviously, another key thing that causes athletes issues is stress. Okay, maybe you're working a full-time or part-time job. Maybe you're in school. You're balancing family responsibilities with your children. All of that can add into your inability to run at faster paces and really get faster at running. Okay, stress is very, very detrimental in terms of athletic performance. So make sure that you take time away from the sport. Okay, if you start getting to a point where you're feeling stale and it's becoming a chronic issue, or you're feeling like you're just not getting any faster, then take some time away. Give yourself a week or two completely off. Allow some time to gain some weight, drink whatever you want, eat whatever you want, enjoy yourself. Remember, this is just running, okay? There's always going to be other races and other competitions to compete in. If you haven't hit your goal race up to this point, don't let that, be a reason for you to lose your enthusiasm for what you're doing, okay? This is a sport where you have to have a belief in delayed gratification. You have to really have a long-term approach to what you're doing. And most of you out there that watch these videos, you're going after some great times. You're going after some high-level race strategies, high-level race times that you're aiming for. Some of you have weight gain goals, weight loss goals. Some of you are trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon or to run a specific time in your track and field event. So all of you that watch these videos are highly motivated individuals. You're already driven and motivated, but that being said, you have to make sure that it doesn't become detrimental to a point where you're stressing yourself out because you didn't hit the splits that you were wanting on the track or on the roads. And remember, it takes around 3 to 4 weeks for your body to adapt to any stress load you're placing on it. So if you're trying to hit mile repeats, say at 7 minutes per rep, and you're hitting 725 to 745 right now, just stay persistent with what you're doing. Allow yourself that 21 to 4 weeks of time before you start thinking about dropping down to the next intensity. Okay, you're eventually going to get 7 minutes, but you have to first adapt to what 740 to 745 mile pace feels like first. Okay, you can't just jump to 7 minute pace. I hope that makes sense. It's the same for somebody that's trying to break, say, a 2:36 marathon. An athlete that's trying to run that fast has to run 6 minute mile pace for 26.2 miles, consecutive miles. So early on, when you're not very aerobically fit or anaerobically fit, running 6 minute mile repetitions on the track, just running at goal 2:36 marathon race pace is going to feel like a task, okay? So eventually, over a long period of time, like I always talk about, 4 to 6 months, eventually sub 6 minute mile pace is going to feel very easy and very, or to a point where just moderately hard. You're going to get to a point where running 6 minute miles over and over again is going to become very automatic, but it's not going to feel that way immediately. So keep those things in mind in terms of, if you're asking these questions of why am I not getting faster at running, make sure that you're looking at your training. How are you setting up your training? Are you investing in yourself? Are you really paying attention to what the top runners are doing? I can tell you from my own experience that the best runners, they're fully committed. They spend an enormous amount of time training at very high intensities. The world's top runners, at least the ones I've trained with over the years, spend around 35 to 40% of their weekly volume training at or below their anaerobic threshold. So that's running anywhere from 85 to 89% of your maximum heart rate. So there is a reason why these runners make it look so easy. Okay, it's not just because they're Kenyan or not just because they're European or from other parts of the world. It's because they're not spending so much of their weekly volume just running easy and relaxed. Okay, they focus they're very highly focused on running very easy on their easy days. At least most of the runners that I've trained with that were world class just would jog on their recovery days. So I think a big mistake that a lot of athletes are making that aren't getting any faster at running is they're not allotting sufficient time to recover from the hard workouts, the track workouts, the road sessions, the hill repetitions they're doing. Some athletes might need 2 to 3 days of recovery. And the problem I see is some athletes are only giving themselves like a day of recovery after each track workout or tempo run that they're doing. And then they're running easy for one day and they're going right into another hard anaerobic workout. Now, again, if you're an elite level athlete, if you're a very advanced runner, some of you can do that. Okay. But at my peak, when I was running my fastest times, when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I'm 46 now, I would need a minimum of 2 days and even up to 3 days of recovery, especially after doing faster, varied pace long runs that I teach for athletes that are training for the 5K all the way to the marathon. You do not want to just get in the same routine of running easy every single weekend, because you're not going to get much faster if you're just focused on running easy, relaxed, long, slow distance runs every single weekend. So if you've done that in the past, one quick way to start getting faster is to start mixing up the paces. Sprinkle in some running at VO2 max effort during your long runs, some time, some miles or kilometers during that long run, running at your tempo pace. Might be, if you're doing, say, a 20 miler, it might be like 3 to 4 miles during that 20 miler, you run at your anaerobic threshold. And maybe 1 or 2 miles, it might be every 4th mile or maybe every 5th mile, drop 1 mile at VO2 max effort. And then sprinkle in some very easy, relaxed miles or kilometers during that long run at an easy aerobic effort, running around 60 to 65% of your max heart rate. So again, you want to mix up the intensities of those long runs and get beyond just running easy and relaxed every single weekend. So that's one way that could definitely help you get faster. Obviously, you have to work on your speed development. You have to train at paces that are closer down toward your 1 mile to 3K effort. If you're training for, say, a 5K, 5 miler, 10K, half marathon or marathon, you have to spend that time training at paces that are so fast, running at such an aggressive effort that you can't clear the lactic acid faster than it's building up. So that again, once you start dropping your volume, you drop your intensity, you do a 10-day taper leading into your key race. If you've done that properly, you've focused on staying consistent with your volume and really paid attention to the other fundamentals, proper sleep, trying your best to get as much sleep as you can, preferably 8 to 10 hours rest each night, drinking plenty of fluid before, during, and after your workouts, making sure you're carbo loading leading into your key races. If you've done all that correctly, then you are going to get faster, okay? And if you're not getting faster, look at how much stress you're dealing with. Do the very best you can to take that stress away from you, and balance yourself, and make sure that you don't make running more than it is, okay? Again, if you have a few bad races or a few bad workouts, it's part of the process to success. You're not just going to create phenomenal race performances every single weekend that you race. Okay, sometimes you're going to peak, and sometimes you're going to have a plateau, and you're going to be at that particular race time for a set amount of time before you start seeing some significant changes. Okay, great results in the sport do not happen overnight. So I hope this video is helpful for you if you've been asking this question of why am I not getting faster at running. Some of these could be the reasons. So just take it for what it is, learn from the mistakes you're making, and really think over the successes that you've had in the past, and find out what were the real reasons for those successes. And if you're making some mistakes, just adjust your training, okay? I hope this is helpful for you. Feel free to leave a comment below. Definitely check out the resources on RunDreamAchieve.com or below all of my videos. They're there for you to hopefully help you succeed and achieve success much faster and much more efficiently. So I wish you all the best, and I will talk to you all in the next video.